Hi guys, welcome to Escape Wheel Watch Reviews. My name is Steve and today we're going to be reviewing the Sugess S433 DD40. I purchased this watch during the last sale from the Sugess official store on AliExpress. I paid about $200 US, that's after taxes, so that's about a $30 price difference, maybe a little bit more. So yeah, I was pretty happy with the price. And if you stick to the end of the video, you'll know how I feel about that price, because as always, you will be getting my full and honest opinion of this and any other watch that you see on this channel. And if by the end of this video you want to pick one of these up, I'll be leaving an affiliate link down in the video description. You guys don't pay any extra. I will get just a little bit of commission off every sale. So I really do appreciate it. It helps keep the channel running and allows me to buy watches like this without fear of my wife killing me. The current retail price for this watch is about $230 US. That's before any taxes or VAT or coupons or anything like that. They usually do have little coupons here and there, so make sure to clip those before you hit the buy button. The watch is available in 6 different colorways in both steel and gold cases, and even some of the dials, they do have those diamond or baguette indices. So if you don't like the Roman numerals and you want some diamonds on your dial, they have that option as well. The watch case and bracelet are made of 316L stainless steel. It has a sapphire crystal, a screw-down crown, a screw-down case back, 100 meters of claimed water resistance, and the watch is powered by the Sugess ST2146 automatic high beat day-date movement. So I have had quite a few fluted bezel type watches on the channel, from Pagani Design, Parnas, Chronos, Iron Watch. None of them have really stuck in the collection for one reason or another. I do still have the Chronos in the collection, but I'm getting ready to sell this thing. If anyone is interested, email me. But yeah, I definitely think the Chronos is the nicest watch that I've reviewed, but I just don't, the colorways just don't do it for me. So yeah, I'm looking to move this one on. I've wanted a white dial fluted bezel for a very long time. So yeah, this is as good as it gets for now. So let's see if the watch in general is any good. So I say we get into the full review, but before we do a quick wrist check today. Wearing the brand new Fleta Master of the Seas watch. This one just came in. This is their new version with kind of that fine wave dial and an NH38 movement. Yeah, really liking this watch. This one will be on the channel very soon. All right, first things first, let's get to the dimensions. I have not measured this one yet. Got a diameter of 40 millimeters, a case thickness of 12.0, 21 millimeter lug width, lug tip to lug tip of 47.8 millimeters. It does have protruding end links just slightly, so the longest part is 50.9 millimeters. And sized up for my 7.5 inch wrist with no links removed. It weighs 123 grams. So I think the size is, pretty much spot on for a DD40 homage. A little bit long on those lug to lugs, and it does have ever so slightly protruding links, as you can see there, but I do think it wears pretty good for what it is. It's nice and thin mid case as well, very flat case as you would expect, but yeah, I do think it looks pretty good. I'm going to go outside right now and throw it on my wrist for you. Here we are on my 7.5 inch wrist, and it fits really good. You can see here, really flat case, but I think it's low profile enough that it does look pretty good on wrist. And you get lots of play off of the bezel, lots of play off of the Roman numerals on the dial as well, and it just looks really good. You can see nice and balanced feeling on wrist with the bracelet. We'll talk about the bracelet a little bit later, my gripes with it, but for the most part it is very comfortable, and I think it wears pretty good, and it does look really good. And here we are out in some direct sunlight, and there you can see it is a true white dial. It does have just like a little bit of a shimmer to it, just a tiny bit, but yeah, I do think it looks good, and I'm just really happy that it's an actual white dial. I guess I would have preferred a glossy one, but this one actually looks pretty good. Anyway, unfortunately, I have no straps for this thing. It is 21 millimeters. It should live on this bracelet anyway, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm not going to have any strap show for you guys today, but I'm going to roll some footage of just some different lighting situations as I come across them. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy those, and then we'll get back to the review. Okay, so let's talk about the case finishing on this. And case finishing is very simple. It is a fully polished case, and it's really nicely done though. You have full polishing on the tops of the lugs there, polishing on the sides of the case, and I mean, Sugess, they always do a very nice job with their finishing, so No surprise here, the polishing job is done really nicely. You flip it over to the crown side here, you do have a signed crown there, just your typical S logo. It looks like it's just laser engraved. It's not really deeply engraved or anything. And I know that S is kind of polarizing. I think a lot of people don't like it, myself included. I think they could do something a little bit nicer on that. Even their new logo, which is on the dial here, which we'll talk about, maybe put that on there. Just something other than that S. But yeah, I think other than that, the case finishing is done really nice. You do have what I believe is a stainless steel bezel. I'll bring in the Chronos. The Chronos is, that platinum palladium coating. This one is a little bit dirty, so you'll have to forgive that a little bit. But you can see, I feel like the Chronos is just a little bit more sparkly. So yeah, that's just something I noticed. It doesn't look bad at all on the Sugess, but definitely if you're going for that bling factor, the Chronos is the one to get. But as far as this one goes, it's done nicely. It's nice and crisp, nicely polished. It's not like too in your face. I know someone I was talking to said that they don't like the overly blingy bezel, but if you're getting a fluted bezel, you're kind of getting it for the bling. So I think it should be more like the Chronos, but that's just me. And again, it's really not that bad. It's just when you have them side by side that you notice that it's not quite up to par. But yeah, nicely done. Flipping it over to the case back here, you can see just your typical screw down case back coin edge style. Yeah, brushing, polishing, no spec sheet, no nothing on the back, just perfectly sterile. You do have circular brushing on the bottom of the case, and then this bottom edge here of the case is nicely honed, so not uncomfortable on wrist at all. And overall, with the case finishing, I'm very happy with it. I think they did a good job on the case. They kept it, slim enough that it doesn't feel top heavy. Kind of like the Iron Watch. That one felt a little top heavy. This one doesn't feel bad at all. All right, so let's talk about the crystal on this thing. So we will test it for sapphire. Crystal itself is sapphire, but the Cyclops is also sapphire. So that's nice to see. Sapphire crystal, sapphire Cyclops. I would say the Cyclops is pretty nicely aligned, I think. The date, not so much. We'll talk about that in just a second. But yeah, I think the Cyclops itself is nicely aligned. And the crystal itself is really nice. It's just a flat piece of sapphire crystal. It does have anti-reflective coating on the underside, and it does a pretty nice job of keeping the dial nice and clean. I'm really happy with the crystal on this thing. You can see it sits just a little bit above the bezel there with a nice chamfer. Pretty simple crystal, but very effective and nicely done. All right, so let's talk about the dial on this thing. So the dial, like I said, you can get it in 6 different dial colors, I believe, or 5 different dial colors with a couple different cases. So yeah, really a lot of options to choose from. I really like that ice blue one, but I wanted a white dial. So I was pretty happy to see when it showed up that it is actually white. It's not like a glossy white. It's just a matte white dial. There is just a tiny bit of texture when you get real close up to it, as you can see. I mean, maybe you can't even see it there, but it is a white dial. It's not a silver dial, which is what I was really worried about. It looks great. It looks really, really good. Getting real close here, you can see the day indicator there. It's nice and centered. You have your date window, and definitely the date is set off to the left in that thing, which is a little bit of a disappointment. It hasn't bothered me too much, but it's definitely off to the left. So yeah, just something to note. You have your Roman numerals at most of the hour markers. You do have single batons everywhere there isn't a Roman numeral. And they're nicely done, nicely applied, nicely faceted, as you can see. They sparkle really nice, and the crystal keeps everything nice and clear. I do like their new applied logo. So getting up real close here, you can see it's kind of a cog with a set of watch hands in the middle. I like it. I dig it. It's centered nicely. It looks good. You have your Sugess text there, which is a love or hate thing for a lot of people. And then high beat automatic. I'm not sure why they needed to put high beat there, but it doesn't look bad at all. It looks very balanced. And overall, I am pretty satisfied with the dial on this thing. You do have your Sugess branded rehout there, as you can see. And again, nicely done. It was pretty minimal. I almost missed it when I first got the watch, but it's definitely there. And I think it all looks really, really good. The handset that they chose, it's nice, nicely sized as well, reaching right out to the minute track there. Minute hand is just a little bit short of it, but not too bad. An hour hand seems fine. There's no lume on the dial, so we don't have to worry about that. But yeah, I think the way they did this dial, it looks really good. The crystal that they chose really just kind of emphasizes the cleanliness and the crispness of the Roman numerals. Everything just sparkles really nice. and I think it all looks really, really good. Okay, so let's talk about the movement in this thing. So the movement is the Seagull ST2146. It is a clone of the ETA 2836 or 2836-2. So it is a clone of a Swiss-made movement, day and date functions. It's a high beat, automatic, dual directional winding rotor. Yeah, I mean, it's a great movement. It feels a lot like a PT5000. It's been running great. Here's how this one has been running. I've got no complaints with that. That's pretty solid. And yeah, no complaints. I don't know what else to say. It's running really good. And yeah, so the movement itself is operated by this 3 o'clock screw down crown. This is a very small crown, and it's a screw down crown, and being this small on this style of watch, I don't really think it's necessary. I'm afraid that I'm going to cross thread this crown here just because it's so small. There's like not a lot of feedback going on there. So yeah, just something to note. Sugess, you can probably get away with just a push-pull crown on this thing. I think it would be fine. No one's going diving with this watch really. So if you have to bump the water resistance down, I'd say do it. Or maybe put just a slightly larger crown on there. I don't know what to do on this thing. But yeah, it's just not the easiest one to operate. But operation of the crown works flawlessly. I've got no complaints with that. Pulling it out to the third position here, I'm going to show you guys the date switch over. So here we are. We're getting really close. So watch the day and the date when we get to midnight here, or close to midnight. I mean, it is almost instant. So just keep an eye on it. Boom. Both day and date click right over at midnight. So that's really impressive. Very nice and solid feeling movement as well. There's no real wobble in this crown. There's no like slop or play in the hands. Everything functions really nicely, and I'm overall pretty satisfied with it. We will get into the day and date functions here. So first position here, you roll it forward for your date. And I'll show you the offset here. So you can see it's a little bit set off to the left. Just a little bit, but something I noticed. And then you roll it backwards, and this is where you change your day. You can see it's kind of a two-step function here. And watch the date window here. It kind of gets covered up by a little part of the wheel. An interesting little thing that I noticed. But yeah, overall, very satisfied with it. And all those dates, they are nicely centered. So yeah, overall, I'm very happy with the movement on this thing. I do notice every once in a while when I'm in that day and date function, it's hard. I have to press the crown a couple times to get the second hand to re-engage. That's my only real complaint with it, other than the fact that it's just a small crown, and I feel like I'm going to cross thread this thing every time I mess with it. All right, so let's talk about the bracelet on this thing. So the bracelet is actually pretty nice. It is a 21 millimeter lug width. It tapers down to 16 millimeters at the clasp. You have brushed links on the outer, polished links on the inner. Everything there is done really nicely. Here's a close look at the end links. They are female pivot end links, but they do protrude ever so slightly out of the case there. As you can see, the fitment on these end links is just nice and tight and solid. No issues with that. This bottom edge here, maybe a little bit tight. That's really my only complaint, I guess, as far as the comfort of the bracelet goes. Everything, like the bracelet is nice and fluid, as you can see. You do have some gaps in it, so it feels pretty light, but that's kind of what I've noticed on this style of bracelet. They're all the same. It doesn't feel as heavy as like a typical 3-link bracelet. So yeah, just something to know, but the links are very small and very close together, and it just makes for really nice articulation. The tolerances on this thing are pretty nice as well. It's got enough flex where it's comfortable, but it's not so jangly that it just feels super cheap. So I am pretty satisfied with that. You do have screw pins for adjusting here. You can see you've got a whole bunch of screw links on this side and just a few on this side here. I didn't remove any for my 7.5, maybe a little bit larger than 7.5 inch wrist. So if you have something like an 8-inch wrist, this probably is not going to fit you. Just keep that in mind. Everyone else should be fine. There seems to be plenty of adjustment there. There's like 2.5, almost 3 inches of adjustment. So yeah, just something to note. Working our way to the clasp here. It is a nice hidden clasp, as you can see. So there's the clasp right there. You got your Sugess S logo here. You just lift up on this thing here. It's a little hinged door there. And yeah, I mean, it opens up to a fully milled inner clasp. Really nice tight tolerances there. Sugess branded, fully polished on the inside. It looks good. It works good. It's comfortable. I've had no complaints with it. No complaints with the bracelet other than the fact that you just can't size it any larger. I would actually prefer one extra link. So yeah, just something to note if you are a big wristed fellow like me. Yeah, this is gonna be a tough one. So there you go, guys. That is the Sugess S433 DD40 homage. This one pretty much goes right up against the Iron Watch, and I like this one better than the Iron Watch. Those are pretty much the same price. So yeah, I would say get this one over the Iron Watch. If you're cross-shopping this with the Chronos, I think if you like the colorways of the Chronos and you don't really care about the date function, I would go with the Chronos. It just feels like a little bit more of a solid watch and definitely has that bling factor with the bezel. It is about 0.5 millimeter thinner as well. And yeah, I think other than that though, they're very evenly matched. Nice finishing, nice bracelets. Yeah, I just don't know what to say. This watch is, it's nice. Is it $230 nice? I would like to see it closer to $200 on a normal day. That's just me. I know you're getting the high beat at a clone movement, and that's where some of this price comes from. I saw those pop up online for like $70, so that's a lot of the price. I think you are getting really good finishing, a nice crystal. I think one of the best looking dials that you can get on AliExpress in this style of watch. So yeah, there's a lot to like about this watch indeed. I think that's it for me. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.